So, we talked a while back about the Dead Space Demake, where someone got hold of Dead Space and they went, what did Dead Space look like on the PS1? Resident Evil 0, which was pretty close to the PS1, and they've done a demake for that too. I wouldn't think it'd be that hard because all you have to do is whatever they did for Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil, and follow that through. But hey, it's one of those things. So we got the Dead Space remake. Capcom's been hitting it out of the park with the Resident Evil remakes. Yes, we know this. You don't have to wonder any longer. A group of modders have created a Resident Evil 0 remake. The game was originally released in 2002 for the GameCube and looked pretty similar to the HD. Somebody's at my front door. I forgot to turn my phone off. Oops, bad me. I'll go again. Anyway, modders have created a Resident Evil 0 remake. The game was originally released 2002 for the GameCube. I remember when that came out because my brother Alex played it. Thought the original Resident Evil 0 was fantastic. Told me I had to play it. Didn't play it until a couple of years later. This remake, however, does the opposite and turns the Resident Evil experience into like that of the first 3 games on the PlayStation 1. So we've got some footage here. I have to go through past here because that's the Let's Play Resident Evil 4 remake, which they've managed to put in here, and we've got the footage here. So again, sorry to podcast listeners, very, very visual. So
oh, that brings back memory, that noise.
Oh yeah, that brings back memories.
Well, I called it a noise. It's not it's a beautiful sound.
That's the sound of I'm about to have fun.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Ironically, that's one of our little kind of bits that we have in between here. So let's fast forward it through a bit. So I think they've got the cut sequences, and we need to get through the cut sequences because we're not interested in cut sequences. We're interested in. It looks just like Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil. Apart from the resolution, on the characters is a lot higher because I can see their eyes rather than a blurred, pixelated mess where the eyes should be. And I don't know if they have a gibble sandwich in there. Let's just forward through it a bit more. Just have a nose at this here. So if the Resident Evil 1 was before the first Resident Evil game, and it took place primarily on a train with a prisoner, and they had these weird slugs that had the virus in. So the slug bit you and got the virus, and that's how they're transmitting it. And you have to fight Slug Man at the end. But yeah, I'm looking at that, and I can see what they've done, because what they've probably done is they've taken stills from the game and then loaded them in. So they've looked at the GameCube game, because it was still that horrible tank controls, which I know you love, Nigel. I know you love tank controls at games.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and Resident Evil 0 had tank controls. But one of the things, oh my God, see, they haven't got the scenery quite right. So she's you can see the guy where it's not quite covered up on the thing there. So he's supposed to be behind that bar. So there's still some work to be done on this, but I do appreciate these demakes. It's something weirdly novel and like nostalgic without being nostalgic, sort of thing. Where's the other guy? Where's Billy? I think it's Billy's his name. Come on, you got Billy in there? Or is it just it won't play anymore? There we go. There's Billy. Hey, he's the prisoner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think they should down the res on Billy and see. There you go, Billy. I'm such a great gamer. I am to remember the fact that it was Billy in Resident Evil 0 there. Yeah, because the idea was that you could switch between the 2 characters and you'd share inventory. So the problem is if one of your characters was on one side of the map and another was on the other side of the map, you'd have to worry about it. And there was like the thing with a dumb waiter on the train where you'd send bits up and down to each other so you could fix puzzles and whatnot. It was quite a novel thing, and they did want to do it in the Resident Evil games, but before they went to the PlayStation 2 era and the GameCube era, didn't have the technical capabilities doing it, and that's why they did it then. They do need to sort some of this imaging out because they are on the wrong side. They kind of got the layers right, but they didn't put the layer over the top, so you can see him walking pretty much in front of the bar, the safety bar on the train there. And then you got the guy clipping through that there. But interesting. I do like the demakes. There's a novelty, something interesting to talk about. I do think they're cool. I'm gonna have to get you to play a Metal Gear game or a Resident Evil game. I think I can get you to play Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, probably before playing any of the Resident Evil games, because that tank control thing, you'll just go, no, I'm not doing it. I refuse.
Yeah, I sort of. The only game which I think had a tanky control was a Final Fantasy game that I played, and because it was Final Fantasy, I sort of forgave it a little bit, but not to that extent where you're trying to aim at something and shoot and it doesn't fucking hit something because you're not aiming quite right because it's tank control and it's very tricky. And then also I don't like the camera angles,
and then having to adapt when they change to angles. It's like,
yeah,
I'm going this way. No, I'm not going this way.
You're running through and you run into another area and it changes the angle. So the direction you're pushing actually means you get back the other way, and then Anyway.
Yes.
Sure, I'll give it a shot.
We have to, as I said, I'm going to get you to play one either a Metal Gear game or a Resident Evil game. I'm trying to think if there's a Resident Evil. Actually, no, I got you to play one Resident Evil game once because we did Resident Evil 5 VR.
Yeah, that was a VR game.
Couldn't get the bitch in the attic though, could we?
No, couldn't get past.
Stuck on it. Now imagine on a controller it's easier, but we couldn't. I did appreciate the fact that I could poke my head out the doors and like look left and right down the corridor before I came out. That was